Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of a run through. Today we're taking a look at Atomicrops. It's available on the Epic Game Store initially, and now it just released on Steam. It's out of early access. It's a 1.0 release, and I think it's around $10 at the moment. You can get I think it'll be 14 after that, I believe. So it's a farming-based roguelike. A lot of people are comparing it to Stardew Valley, and I sort of would say that it's Stardew Valley if you sped it up by about 200%, and then the fighting, like the dungeons, were outside, I guess, at all times. So basically, what happens is you have 2 minutes for a day cycle. You're going to the different plots. I believe there's like 4 located around the area, or your farm area, and you're killing creatures and collecting seeds from them and other various items. This is also where all the roguelike stuff comes into play. These sides are all procedurally generated, but if you see those plots there, like this one coming up, basically the ones that have certain items there, you kill every creature that's at that plot, and then you'll have the choice of like one of 2 items that's usually there. For example, bees like fertilize stuff. The chickens will eat weeds. These are all randomized, and this is sort of like where the RNG side of the game can kind of be a problem, or makes it extra difficult, because there's no overall progression in the game whatsoever. It's all just per run basis. So I think I heard there is like something that will increase your stats overall, but they're like super rare, and it's not like a ton that they actually do that for. And then the only other difference is there's like a few characters that you can unlock that'll have variations of like her, for example. She starts with 2 bees at the farm with help fertilize crops, and all your crops go 20% faster. The second guy, I believe, starts with like a turret and something else, which I didn't find to be near as useful as the crops growing, because that's sort of where all your money comes from and all of your other currency. Most of the people in town take roses as currency rather than gold, or beans, I guess it is, golden beans. The other weird thing about this too is you don't find health anywhere. You have to grow a heart plant, and then that'll heal you, which I think is where the difficulty of the game comes in. One, because there's no overall progression. 2, because plants are the only way to get health back, and you start with a pretty limited amount. I think you may get increased ones if you are able to plant 4 in a plot. Generally speaking, there's like each section there's like, if you put 4 in a row, it'll grow a bigger crop, from what I understand, and then that'll help that. There's also these, I guess you would call them like an ultimate, but there's like these items you'll pick up, like one waters all the crops at once. They're like tractor variants, I guess is how they refer to them in the game, but they'll sort of build up, and then over time they'll do it. There's like one that turns all the enemies into fertilizer, one that waters everything, one that I think plants seeds, one that's like a nuke that will harvest and speed up the growth of all that stuff, which I found almost all of those to be relatively useful, depending. I will say there's also a mechanic with bridges, so there's like certain areas that you'll increase the difficulty of by going farther into them, but again, you only ever have 2 minutes. Eventually, if you open the second area, I believe like a mole pops up that you can sort of take a hole over there, so you can quickly go back and forth. I did find, I think, that those close at night though, so that makes it a little more difficult to get back if you've gotten far out. So then, yeah, during the night stage, I think I said already, but that's what's going on here. Basically, monsters will come and attack. They're trying to eat all of your crops, and then you kill them, and then there's like usually 3 to 5-ish waves, and then there's a timer as well. So I think at a certain point you win anyway if you can outlast it. I'm not sure how it affects the bosses though, because the third boss, or the last boss that I was fighting, I died kind of right before it was supposed to tick out, so I'm not sure how that works. It may stop it, or it may keep going. I really don't know. Overall, it's good though. It's really difficult. I would say it's like I said, you can't really cheese a win, and RNG is like pretty important on a lot of this stuff. There's like some boots that will fertilize the ground when you walk over them, which is huge, but I've only seen that once. There's another set of wings that would let me fly to any of the zones without having to repair them, and that was also really big, because you could get better, rarer, more expensive crops that way faster. But I've only seen that once as well. The other big thing is the weapons in the game. I guess that's the second character's benefit, is the weapons have a chance of not breaking. If you don't have that character though, the weapons, unless there's maybe an item that changes it, the weapons will break every night or every morning. So generally the idea is like to save up money until you know the boss is going to come on the 3rd night, and then you buy a gun for that, because otherwise it's kind of wasted. And unless you have like a ton of money coming in, which I feel is probably not the case, just because you have to manually do each plot. You also, there's a few items that will expand the farm, but other than that, you have to find pickaxes and manually do one square at a time. You can't like find a pickaxe and then just keep adding spots. So that adds to the difficulty as well, because it's a little hard to come by. They're kind of rare. You can buy them, but they're also expensive too. It's like $100, which is like the same price as like a gun for a night. So yeah, they get pretty expensive. Granted, it may get cheaper the farther in you go. I haven't finished the game yet. I believe it's 5 seasons in total, and then you're done. I'm not totally sure though, but for its price point though, for $10, I think it's a really good game overall. I think yeah, I think at its price point, it's good for what's here. It seems like there's a lot of replayability. It also, like I said, if you're looking for a difficult game, it really doesn't hold your hand with stuff. It is, you know, dependent on you learning the game, which is kind of true of most roguelikes, but less so for others, because they'll kind of give you weapons and overall stat upgrades and health upgrades and all that stuff, and you really just don't get that here. Like your whole farms is dependent on the randomization of stuff that you find. So that's up to you to decide if you think that's interesting enough to you or not. I do kind of miss the overall progression stuff, but I found as I've played it, it's not been. I've enjoyed the per run stuff maybe more. Like, it seems like everything is in there already upgraded and kind of wild, so that you don't feel too much like you're missing out on things being upgraded. But I do miss that, that little endorphin hit of unlocking a new thing or finding a new item or doing all that. It's still kind of present, but it's just not the same as it is in other games, But yeah, I think it's worth checking out. I think it's a really neat game. I think it's pretty fun. So thank you guys for watching. As always, if you have any games you'd like to see me cover, or any questions or things I might have missed about this game, feel free to leave in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next one.